Hello everyone, Kaisen here with the first in a series of videos discussing various mechanics of PvP. Note that this series is aimed at players who are relatively new but are starting to delve a little bit deeper into the arena. Hopefully more experienced players can take something away from this as well though. For today's topics, I'll start off with zones along with some examples. Next we'll talk about using the Z-axis, specifically jumping and the skill leap as an evasive tactic. And finally I'll cover the skill quick rebound and some of its many uses. Now without further ado, let's get started. First, let's talk a little bit about zones. Zones are the areas around each character where their skills can reach. Each class has their own zone, and this depends on the hitbox of each of their skills. Ideally, you want to avoid being in this zone to avoid most of their approaches. On the other hand, you want to keep them in your zone so you can try to start a combo. Let's take a look at some matches from the 2015 Winter Action Tournament. Here we have a male brawler versus a battle mage. Male brawler's main approaches include Tornado Kick, his thrown items like bricks and needles, Explosive Hook, and Seismic Stomp if they choose to take it. However, you'll notice that this leaves a blind spot diagonally above and below from where he is. This blind spot is especially apparent when Tornado Kick is on cooldown, as this is his main Y-axis approach. The Battle Mage wants to stay within this blind spot, as you'll be able to see in this clip. Notice how the Battle Mage stays just out of range of the needles, brick, and poison. When the brawler comes in for a Tornado Kick, a quick dodge opens up the chance for a Meteor Dash and the start of a combo. On the other hand, using this zone as a threat can allow you to lock down an opponent. This clip is from the same set of matches. In this one, the brawler forces the Battle Mage back into the lower corner. The thrown items spread out just enough that the Battle Mage can't easily move around them and ends up taking a brick to the face. Bam! These clips show how knowing the hitbox of your skills allows you to make choices on where to position yourself and what angle to approach from. So in summary, understanding the zones of each class based on their skills can be helpful to decide when to poke or approach. In addition to that, knowing whether a skill is on or off cooldown may alter your decisions. Finally, knowing where to position against each class comes with experience. This is especially true for players new to the arena. Don't worry about memorizing every skill and its range. At the start, you'll learn the most common skills that classes use. Start with simple ones like Rising Shot from Gunners, then gradually try to pick up on the zones of other skills over time. We often talk about the X and the Y axis, but people sometimes forget about the Z axis. As simple as it seems, you can avoid many attacks by simply going over them. Back when Nexon ran the game, I noticed that jumping was often neglected as a movement option. It may not always be effective, but sometimes it's very handy. This ties in with zones. Let's recall the brawler example from earlier. His thrown items cover the X axis, while Tornado Kick covers his Y axis. However, there are a few things he can do against targets in the air. This means jumping is a possible method to dodge his attacks even when backed into a corner. However, you commit to each jump because you also limit your own options in the air. An opponent can time the landing and approach at that point. Jumping opens up a ton of possibilities. Leap is an extension of this. This buff greatly increases your jump height. Typically, everyone wants at least one level of leap. Its main use is as an escape option when cornered. If you expect to move with a large hitbox, this allows you to get to safety. Some classes can combine this with other skills to stall in the air and wait out longer duration threats. Quick Rebound is probably the most important defensive skill for all classes. It is only usable when knocked down. Visually, your character sits up and is invincible until the button is released or the duration ends. In PvP, this is a max of 1 second. You then have a short duration of super armor. There are two main uses to Quick Rebound. First, it allows you to avoid moves that hit off the ground. Second, it allows for a faster counterattack. However, it also has its disadvantages. It's possible to bait the Quick Rebound and the counterattack. The simplest example of this is when a Slayer feigns missing an attack and then cancels into guard. Next, Quick Rebound loses to grabs. After using it, you only have super armor. Grabs and moves that break super armor will go through it. This is why classes like grapplers are risky to use Quick Rebound against, as they still have several grabs to use even after they miss one. Finally, certain other moves outright beat Quick Rebound. These moves usually have super armor that prevent your counter. Spaced properly, they will also be out of range of a grab. So when do you want to actually use Quick Rebound? First, you want to use it to avoid dangerous status effects such as freeze and stun. Next, you want to use it to avoid high damage OTGs such as Striker's Lightning Dance. And finally, you want to use it to attempt to counterattack and hopefully get your opponent in a combo. Learning when and when not to use Quick Rebound is key to minimizing the damage you take and maximizing the chance to counter. That's all the topics for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you've learned a little something or brushed up a bit. If you have any PvP related topics that you're interested in, feel free to let us know. Even if you're just starting out, don't be afraid to lose a few matches. Give PvP a try and continue to improve. Until next time, see you out in the arena. Oh, and you should grab that sub on the way out, just in case you need a snack.